Hey there guys, Jimmy from Glassy Gaming here, bringing you a new TF2 video, and unfortunately, and I'm going to apologize to my boy Sir Duxon here, I'm not going to be making this a series. I loved your TF10's name idea, that was a really good idea. However, I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to keep this as like a regular video type thing, you know, just top 10s of whatever, because I don't want it to be restricted to Team Fortress 2, and I don't feel like making a whole new playlist just for this, you know, thing. It doesn't need it, you know, it's just not necessary. So without further ado, here is my top 10 unusual effects for TF2 hats. First off, at number 10, we've got the second generation effect, bubbling. This is probably an upset for a lot of people because a lot of people probably don't think I like bubbling. I actually love bubbling. My friend Color used to collect bubbling a long time ago, and ever since then I've always kind of liked the effect. It's just subtle and clean, and it looks good without being flashy and bright and over the top, which I like that, you know. I actually still have a bubbling NG cap that my friend Shelly got me many years ago that I've held on to till today because, you know, for one, I don't want to sell gifts that I've been given because that's just fucking shitty, and two, I like the hat. It looks good. Even though I don't play NG that much, it's still one of my favorite hats to wear on NG, so I like it. Next up at number 9, we got the Generation 1 effect, Masked Flies. Now, again, probably an upset for a lot of people. I actually love flies. It's one of the most, you know, like calm and just underrated effects I've ever seen in my life. When there was only one generation of effects, when there wasn't all these new effects and everything like that, back in the old times, there was a shit ton of flies collectors. No pun intended. Like, just so many flies collectors and just a lot of really amazing flies collections. It was nuts. It was probably one of the most collected effects in the game, and that was just because people liked them and they liked how subtle they were and how just nice and clean they looked, you know, just the little flies, and that's about it, you know. And I always liked that. It was just really subtle and not over the top like a lot of other effects are, which I know you guys are probably like, what the fuck, you don't like over the top effects? I do, but I also have a soft spot for the ones that aren't flashy and aren't, you know, over the top. So obviously Masked Flies has to be on this list. Next up, we got Molten Mallard, which I'm not too sure what generation this is. I think it could be considered 4th now, because we have like technically a 4th generation of Halloween effects. So is it 4th gen? Is it 3rd gen? I don't know. But regardless, I like Molten Mallard. It's one of the few like circling effects that I actually enjoy, simply because of the fact that it looks silly. I like ducks. The whole fucking duck gimmick was just hilarious to me. I loved it. I'll admit it. Fuck you, Valve. You got me. So I like the way they look. You know, it's not the best effect ever, but it pairs well with like burning and stuff like that, and it looks good. It's silly, but it looks good. Next, we got Morning Glory, which is of the same generation as Molten Mallard. Kind of a, you know, obvious one here. It looks nice. It's clean. It's a little fucking like mini sunbeam and a cloud. Like, I like it more than I like any single moon effect, so there's that, you know. And it's really not that expensive either. Is it a bit higher tier? Yes, but it's not like as high tier as a lot of the other high tier effects. It's not as valuable, which is nice. At number 6, we've got Haunted Ghost, which is a Generation 1 effect. Pretty straightforward. I've always liked Ghost, just because it's, again, not like the most, you know, out there effect or like, you know, flamboyant or whatever. It's just kind of there, and it looks nice, and it pairs well with a lot of really good hats. I like to name things, like using the name tag and stuff like that, and a lot of Haunted Ghosts hats just kind of make really good themes and names and stuff like that, which is why I like it a lot. At number 5, we've got Circling Hearts from the Generation 1 effects. Circling Hearts is a effect that a lot of people used to collect back in the day. Foxy Fluff being one of the biggest hearts collectors I can remember. It's a nice effect. It's nice, you know. You pair it with some white paint and some white cosmetics, and it looks clean as hell. I know a lot of girls love Circling Hearts, and I don't blame them. It's a nice effect in all honesty. Like, there's really no two ways about it. It just looks good. 4th is Scorching Flames, which is another Generation effect, Generation 1 effect. A lot of people would probably think that Scorching Flames would be higher on my list. Unfortunately, I just don't like Scorching Flames as much as I like a lot of other effects. It's a good effect, don't get me wrong, it's still a flame, and because of that, it's going to make a high number on my list. but it's not that good to me. I know a long time ago when there was just the Generation 1 effects, a lot of the effects got a visual update like Vivid Plasma and Burning Flames, where it made them look more vibrant and vivid, and Scorching Flames never got that. Never did, which is sad, but that's what happened, so Number 3 goes to Purple Energy, another Generation 1 effect. Purple Energy is basically like Burning's baby cousin. It looks good. It's, you know, it's just a nice little ray of purple energy. It looks good. Like, there's really no other way to say it, you know. There's been a few purple energy collectors here and there. Not too many, but a couple. And it is like a mid to high tier effect, so it kind of makes sense to be high on my list. It looks good. It pairs well with a lot of effects. I especially like pairing it with Burning Flames because it looks like a big old like flaming comet on your head. It just looks cool. It's really nice. Number 2 goes to Sunbeams, which is another Generation 1 effect. I like Sunbeams a lot. I really do. Back in the day when I had a much more valuable backpack, I actually had a Sunbeams collection of 9 Sunbeams hats, 1 for each class. And they were all high tier hats. I think the highest tier one I had was a Sunbeam Samurai. I've owned that hat like 5 times now. But regardless, Sunbeams is a really nice effect. Like, it's one of my favorites without a doubt. It's always been one of my favorites. Way back in the day, Sunbeams actually used to be the #1 top tier effect. Like, bigger than Burning Flames. That didn't last very long, but it was. Believe it or not, it was the highest tier effect for a short while in the very beginning of trading. That kind of ended, but regardless, it's still a very high tier effect to this day. I'd say it's probably in the top 3 right now, right? Like Burning, Scorching Sunbeams probably, or something of that sort. But yeah, it's a nice effect, you gotta give it that. And obviously, my number 1 is gotta be Burning Flames, which is another Generation 1 effect. Burning Flames has been my favorite effect since I started trading. When I first quit trading, my goal was to get a Burning Towering Pillar of Flames. Got that. Then I sold it and got a Burning Noble, a Burning Pyromancer, a Burning Stash, and I think a Burning Hallmark. And that was like my 4 hats that I quit on again. And then I came back, sold all that stuff, worked up again, and then I ended up quitting with that Sunbeams collection I mentioned, and as well as a Burning Flames collection of 9 burning hats, which, like, that time was probably the most like valuable my backpack has ever been. Was 9 high tier to god tier Burning Flames hats, 1 for each class, and 9 high tier to god tier Sunbeams hats, 1 for each class. So I had 18 unusuals total, plus some like scraps that I had like just laying around. Like, I think I had like a Vivid Plasma Tower, or just like random hats that I didn't really need, but since I didn't use them to like acquire my collection, I still had them. So I had a pretty badass loadout for a long time, you know, and I ended up cashing out a lot of it, so that kind of sucked, but I did buy a car with all that money, so that was cool. But yeah, like, Burning Flames has just always been my favorite effect. I don't know what it is, it looks the coolest to me. Something about having my head on fire just really turns me on. I don't get it, but hey, I love it. And seems like a lot of the community agrees with me. You know, Burning Flames is definitely the top tier effect right now, with Scorching Flames being a close second, and sometimes Scorching Flames even beats Burning Flames, which I don't get that, but to each their own. I'm not going to hate on your preferences. But regardless, these are my top 10 unusual effects for unusual hats. I might make one for, you know, unusual effects on taunts. Probably not, because I don't really care that much about unusual taunts, so we'll see, but you never know. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know your favorite unusual effects in the comment section below. GG, guys. Thank you for watching. Peace the fuck out.